Hello, fiber fans, friends, and followers. Thank you for joining me. Today I will be talking about my adventures at Wisconsin Sheep and Wool, as well as what I'm wearing, and I have a couple of works in progress and something new to me that I picked up at the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Fair. So sit tight. I feel like I've got a lot to go through. It's only been 2 weeks, but one of those weeks was very fiber filled with a festival. What is it with all the F's today? And all of them clean, fortunately. So, to start with what I'm wearing, this has been a long time coming. I don't remember when exactly I started this. I'm sure I have it on my Ravelry page, but this is the Lionshead top by Irina and Anikeeva, and I'm looking right now at my computer to see on my Ravelry page. I actually pulled it up. I was ready to go. I started it June 8th, and I completed it September 8th. So, September, so that was only 3 months. It felt like longer. But that's pretty much my whole summer. This took me the whole summer to knit. I actually did a twirl in it that I filmed earlier, and I will throw that in while I'm talking. And also while I was at Wisconsin Sheep and Wool, I was wearing this, and Selfish Knitter Colleen was there with me, it's more like I was there with her. She has a group that goes every year, and I kind of tagged along with them. But she took my picture next to a cute little llama wearing this. Not a real one. Anyhow, what did I want to say about it? Oh, so when I did my twirl, that's where I'll put this in. When I did my twirl, I showcased both the shoulder seams as well as the side seams so that you could see that, because that's some of my favorite details on this. I will say it turned out a lot bigger than I intended for it to be. It is very baggy on me. I'm trying to remember. My Ravelry page says something about it measuring 21 inches across. But I think that's before I did any blocking. Yeah, I have an unblocked width of 21 inches. So I steam blocked it before Wisconsin Sheep and Wool last week, and it grew a lot, which I kind of didn't expect it. I expected it to grow some, but nowhere near as much as it did. And I have not yet wet blocked it. So I don't know if that'll make any major difference. And I know too, if I really want to, I can throw it in the dryer and see if I can shrink it back up a little bit, get it to be more the size that I was looking for. But when I was going through my project bag today before I started, I thought, I know I swatched. I wanted to see how my swatches measure up against what I actually did. And now I went to pull out the swatches. I have 4 separate swatches that I did. I was having trouble finding a needle size that worked for me because the recommended needle size wasn't working. And now looking at these swatches, I feel like things came out differently than what I expected. I'm looking at too, like where I have these, I'm sure I measured my stockinette gauge, but I know I measured these charts too. So it's interesting to see that. And I don't know, I haven't measured it like comparing to what I have here, which is something that I wanted to do. And I've been looking around this room for something to measure with. And you would think in my craft room, I would have something. But a couple of times I've gone, oh yeah, I was going to look for that. And it didn't show up. So, maybe I'll do some measuring and then come back, because I'm sure I can find something in the house to measure with. I'll be right back. Okay, so what's funny is as I was filming earlier, when I stopped, I was looking right behind me here and seeing that sewing box and thinking, I'll bet there's something in there. Sure enough, I had this little thing. So I was expecting that I was going to have 9 repeats on the front and 7 on the back. That's my recollection of what I thought I had seen on the projects on Ravelry. I don't know why I thought it would be different on the front than on the back, but for whatever reason, I counted 16 repeats. And if that had been the case, this would have been 5 inches smaller on each side. So I've got, yeah, because no, this has 2 repeats more than I thought it would. Each repeat of the little lion's head. Let's see if I can get one on the screen. Here we go. So from here to here on this like diamond shaped lion's head-ish thing, it's 2.5 inches. And I'm holding the wrong part of the ruler there, but you can see that there. So in total, it's 5 inches more than it would have been if I had calculated correctly. Another thing I'm noticing, though, is that it seems a little lopsided, and my guess is that my gauge loosened up as I went, because as I got more comfortable knitting it, I probably wasn't knitting as tightly. So I feel like, and I'll stand up just to show, I feel like it's bigger on this side than on this side. So you can kind of see how it drapes more on this side than it does on this side. So I don't know whether it's extremely noticeable or not. What I will say is I didn't get a whole lot of compliments on it at Wisconsin Sheep and Wool, but I didn't know that many people there. I mean, the people like Colleen, of course, and then some of the other people that were with us. And I also wore this to school last Monday, and nobody said anything about it. Nobody asked me if I made it. Nobody said a thing. So I was like, okay, this is weird, because the week before I had worn my faux set and everybody said something. Like everybody. Everybody, in all the adults in my classroom, 2 people even said I should knit one for them. So I know people are aware that I'm a knitter. They like some of the things I knit. And so it was a little disappointing to wear this to work and get like 0 feedback. So I was like, okay, does that mean they don't want to say, oh, that doesn't look so good? I don't know. Ugh. It was a little disappointing. So whatever, it is what it is. I like the general look of it. I do think, like, looking in the mirror at this sleeve, I kind of think I liked that stockinette part on the sleeve. It would have been, last episode I showed it where I had just, one ribbed and one stockinette, and I don't remember which side it was now. But I like the look of that sleeve, and I'm wondering if I would like it better that way, because especially with the side view, it is pretty far open here. But I don't know. I am even thinking that maybe this would look better as like an over a collared shirt or a turtleneck or something like that. Maybe it would be a better vest than it is a summer top. So I don't know. I really like it. I enjoyed the process of knitting it. So there's that. I mean, I had so much fun making this happen. And so I feel like it's not a total loss for me. It's a lesson. It's, make sure you know what you're getting into. And maybe if I had the patience to look at the pattern more and really find out how many repeats I was going to be doing of this chart, maybe that would have helped me to understand what width I was actually going to end up with. The yarn I used for this top was Mode Yarns ModeSock Plus. They also happen to be at Wisconsin Sheep and Wool, and I did not get a chance to stop by their booth. We were kind of trying to organize our time going to the fashion show and the sheep shearing and things like that. So anyhow, ModeSock Plus is a discontinued base. It is a blend of superwash wool, bamboo, and nylon. I haven't done any final measurements, so like I said, the 21 inches that I measured was pre-blocking, and I'm sure this is well over that. And I have a 36-inch bust for reference. So, 42 inches on a 36-inch bust would be a decent amount of ease. But I don't know what it is now, and I wish I had that information to give you guys. Anyhow, that's the Lionshead top by Irina Anikeeva. A fun knit, but frustrating to get to the end and find out that I'm not getting the fit that I wanted. And that's on me. That's not on the designer. It may be the yarn I chose. It may be the gauge I knitted at. It may be my measuring skills. I don't know. All right. Next up. Did I mention the Queen Sandy thing? Did I mention that at the beginning? I don't remember. Okay. There's a Queen Sandy bag giveaway. I drew someone's name from a hat earlier. I filmed that, and I'm cutting to it now. In case you missed it, on my last episode, I had given a prompt for the drawing for the Queen Sandy bags. So, before I do that drawing, I want to show again the different ones I have. So, sheep in winter wear, knitting sayings, sheep that look like balls of yarn, polka dot sheep, and llamas in Miami Dolphins colors. All of them have pockets inside. They're all lined with different fabric. They are beautiful. thank you to Queen Sandy for donating them to me. It means a lot to me that I can give this to my viewers. And I appreciate each and every one of you. So with that being said, here's my drawing hat. And I will shake it up. There's one that doesn't want to move. There, I got it moving. Okay. And I will randomly draw one out of here. And the winner is Leslie Carnes. So Leslie, congratulations. Please send me an email to pandemickknitter@gmail.com and let me know your, I assume this is your real name, but your address that I can mail it to, as well as which bag you would like to have. And I will go ahead and get that sent out to you. Congratulations, Leslie. And I will have another prompt for a Queen Sandy bag on my next episode, which will be early in October. So the drawing for that will be the following episode. So watch for the prompt and enter for that. There's still plenty to give away. And now for Wix. Works in progress. My first work in progress is being housed in the bag I purchased post Shark Week. I survived Shark Week 2023, and this is the La Prairie cardigan by Joji Locatelli. In case you did not see last week, I started the knit along, and that was the prompt for the Queen Sandy bit. It was hashtag Joji. So don't use that this time. That one is over. So I will be announcing the prompt on my next episode for the next Queen Sandy drawing. But La Prairie is started, and it has this amazing texture that I'm loving. I have started the fade, which you can kind of see this like green stripe right here is the new color coming in, and then right here at the edge, that's that new color again. So I'm excited about this. I am doing it minus the bobbles because I don't enjoy doing bobbles, but this texture is a lot of fun to do. Now, I'm noticing too, I'm looking at this thing and thinking, is this really gonna fit me right? I don't know. It blends in quite a bit with my Lionshead top, doesn't it? So I looked at my swatch, and I'm thinking this blocked out quite a bit larger than what I'm looking at on my work. So when I don't have it spread out, when it's just, you know, in like knitting phase, it seems like the stitches relax quite a bit from that. So I'm gonna be cautiously optimistic with this one. I think because of my experience with this top, I made sure to stick with a smaller size because I feel like that's what I'm going to want, and that's what my swatch showed me that I need. So I'm hoping this time I'm not gonna have the same kind of problems, but you never know. On my last episode, there was some discussion in the comments about the fade because I had asked for advice. So let me see if I can find some of those and we'll talk about it. because I'll put a picture up here of what I ultimately decided on, because I feel like I did rearrange them from what I had originally decided. So Colleen, Selfish Knitter, says, you could do light blue green, darker blue green, blue purple, and blue, or reverse it. I'm trying to think of like what she meant with blue. I think she was talking about this one as blue, but this one I look at as lavender. What do you mean, Colleen? Is this the one you were saying was blue? I don't know. Because there's 5 colors. So, and there is, okay. This is the first one. This is the one I swatched in. This is the second one I decided to go with. And next, I don't know what's in the picture. Oh, it must have been this one next. And then I went lighter green. So it's almost like I'm going like dark and back light again. And then this one fading into purple. So I'm pretty sure that's what I ultimately decided. I had thought that this one that has more purple in it next to this one that's lavender, I had thought those would be good next to each other, but I kind of think this green in between, I think when you do a fade like this, you kind of want it to be noticeable. You want like a, how do I want to say it? You want it to fade in and blend nicely, but at the same time, you want it to be noticeable that you are blending different colors instead of it just, and who knows, like other people might have different opinions on that, in order to fade. But that's the idea I decided on. And so I think, Colleen, you were not the only one who mentioned 4 colors. Because I was like, did I only show 4? I don't know. Maybe that's what I did. I think Sharon also mentioned that. She says, for your fade, I like the 2 greenish colors, then the blue, then the darker color. So I'm assuming the 2 greenish, then the blue, then the darker color, like that. Does this not match? I think, you know what? That does look like a nice fade. I like that. But now I am wondering, did I not even talk about, because this is not the same brand. This is Suburban Stitcher, and the rest of these are, I think it's Herd of Cats. Yeah, Herd of Cats. So I'm wondering if I wasn't clear that I was doing 5 colors. So I appreciate the advice. I went a different route because I had more colors than you realized. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I didn't say it, I would have to go back and look at the episode, but obviously that wasn't clear because 2 different people mentioned 4 colors and the same 4 colors because nobody said anything about lavender. So thank you for weighing in, and I apologize if I wasn't clear. With this Joji Cowl, I will be working on that. That is the project that I have to kind of focus a little bit more on. I enjoy it because it's a challenge, but at the same time, there's something I get out of that. And the knitting round and round on things kind of sometimes makes me anxious to get it over with. So if it's all a bunch of knits, or, you know, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, that I get bored with very easily. So I don't have a lot of projects that I do that with, but I'm at that part with my next whip. This one is loosely based on the Fruit Stripes Gum Socks by Leah Oakley, and it is being knit in Desert Vista Dye Works Viso base in the colorway The Kiss. These are socks intended for my oldest son's girlfriend, and I am nearly to the toe on these. She has a bigger shoe size than I do, so I don't know. I have one of those sock rulers. My friend Julie gave it to me. It's one of these where you unroll it, and I mean, I guess you could wear it like a slap bracelet, but yeah, so I hope it's accurate. I have very little more to do before I am ready to start decreasing for the toes. It looks big to me, but my foot is 2 sizes smaller than hers, so I don't know. I feel like 2 shoe sizes shouldn't make that much difference in the foot of a sock, because when you buy socks at the store, I feel like it's usually the same size because they stretch that much. So I don't know. I hope I'm not making clown socks for this poor woman. So I'll have her try these on, I think, before I do the decreases, and we'll go from there. I might need to undo some. I don't know. But they're getting there. So I have another whip, don't I? Don't I? Not listed on my show notes, I don't. There was something I wanted to talk about, though, because I have been, once I finished my Slip Dream shawl, I was like, okay, on to my Brioche shawl. So I have been working on Budding Brioche Blooms by Jennifer Shiels Toland, and this is in Expression Fiber Arts yarn, and I don't remember the base, but the colorway is Prairie Mist Hues. This feels so nice. It is all garter stitch and brioche. And so I'm looking at the size of this, okay? So I feel like I want to stand up so you can see it better. So you can see like how it compares to my body size. So really, I am at the point where there's a brioche edge on this, and then I'm finished. Now, I know it's hard to tell how big this actually is with it scrunched up on the needles, but I feel like if I went to put this on over my shoulders, where's the needle? There we go. Like, that's not very big. And it's so hard to tell. But the reason I am talking about that is because I would like a nice, fluffy, oversized shawl, as opposed to a shawl that is not as big. I feel like I want it to come over my shoulders and surround me like a hug. I want to be warmed up in it, and I want it to cover my arms some. So I'm just looking at Frontier Fingering is the base of the yarn. Okay, so for the edge, what I want to use are, ooh, there's another skein of yarn. Okay, dropping things now. Okay, so for the edge, what I want to use is these two skeins. These are two 50-gram skeins of yarn that I have for the brioche on the edge of this. And I still have all this other yarn that I could use if I wanted to add additional bulk to this shawl. And I do. I want to do that, but that's gonna take some thinking. I was gonna say math. There's that, but there's also arranging the colors, and like I do want just those two colors in the edge. So I've got to figure things out. If I want to do another garter section, right? No, it would be another plain brioche section, like this one, just back and forth brioche. The edging is fancy brioche. It'll be here, you'll see in the picture. But the thing is, there's nothing for scale in that picture, so you can't really tell how big it is. And I don't remember whether or not I've seen pictures of the finished object on a person or anything that would give me any concept of the scale of the size of the finished shawl. So I really think I'm going to want more, like just one more section of brioche and garter before I go into the border brioche. But I really need to think through this like the designer would, which I think I'm playing with fire, because I have no experience with twists and turns in brioche. And I was looking at like how you start on the chart, how you start this complicated brioche thing. And there's all these increases right on the first row. And I'm like, okay, so I need to figure out what that first row number is and make sure that I have, whatever number plus however many stitches, the way they do charting. And I have no experience with that. So this could prove to be a very frustrating thing if I don't figure it out. I mean, even if I do figure it out, it's going to be frustrating. It's going to be frustrating to figure out. And if I get it wrong, it's going to be even more frustrating. Anyhow, I feel like I want to take that chance, but I don't know if that's something I want to do in my immediate future, because I have other things I want to work on. And that I'll talk about on my next episode, because I've talked a lot about things that I probably don't even need to. So let's go ahead and, before I get to the comments, I forgot I have a new to me. Oh my gosh, and I have a lap full of leftover yarns that need to get back into their bag. And my sock ruler. I don't want to wear my sock ruler. Okay. So, for comments this week, there was a lot about Hues Cowl because I had talked about that as my prompt. Elizabeth Donaldson says, the colorways you picked for the La Prairie sweater are beautiful. I was not able to join Hues Fall Cowl, but will be knitting the Granito soon. I don't know what that is, but I'm sure it's amazing because it's a Joji Locatelli pattern and she makes amazing designs. She says, I also had to come up with a system to get my knitting done. I'm a slow knitter and can get distracted with just about anything. Same, girl, same. She says, I have a tablet that I write what I'm knitting and divide each project by days. For example, I can knit socks in 10 days. So I chart how much is to be done for every few days, and it's working. This month of September, I was able to finish a pair on time. Plus, I finished Tassels in the Sky. Good for you. I love that. I feel like I kind of throw caution to the wind and say, whenever it gets finished, and I don't care. But there are things that are timed, and I do care. You know, I want to, like, especially when there is, like, what am I stuck on? When there's gift knitting, and I want to make sure I get it in time for, like, babies. They're gonna outgrow the things before you finish them if you don't finish them quickly. And that's what I'm working with right now is there's a couple of babies in my family and I had planned to knit things for them and still haven't done them. But yes, I made a new spreadsheet because I like to make spreadsheets. I like to pretend I'm organized. I like to pretend that I'll stick with something once I start it, but I very rarely do. I'm all over the place. I'm like, it's annoying. I wish I could keep up with myself. Selfish Knitter, Colleen. Hi, Colleen. She says, the slip dream is beautiful. For La Prairie, I think the caked up, I talked about her colors that she suggested. And she says, I'm working on a Joji pattern right now, the lounging top. I've seen that on Instagram. It's beautiful. I hope it works out well. I don't remember where you're at, but I feel like you were kind of hung up on something. She says it won't qualify for the official fall Cowl, but I was really happy to see her group is having a whip finishing challenge in September. If I have my poop emoji together next year, maybe I will try to make a cardigan. I love her all the lights and Citadel cable designs. I have all of the lights right there. I did that one. I changed some of the cables on it because, you know, as Julie of the Nitty Cats would say, I'm a winger. I like to wing it. I like to change things up. And of course, you don't always love what you wing. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. This one, come see, come sa. So yeah, this actually, the one I'm doing, that's my third Joji cardigan that I'm working on. So you should do one. I think it would be great. Doris says, your slip dream looks great. I wasn't sure I liked your colors when you started, but it's lovely. Thank you. Kendra says, your slip dream shawl is lovely. Thank you, Kendra. I'm not doing the Hohi Cal this year. The Burra Cowl Cal and Summer Sock Camp Cal with Crazy Sock Lady wore me out on Cals for a while. I so get that. Here's the thing. I am seeing all of these knit-alongs coming up, and I'm like, ugh, I want to be in every one of them, but knowing myself and knowing that I don't like deadlines, I don't want to do it. I just don't. I haven't even started the Burra Cowl, which is part of a knit-along that, which is a knit-along that I am partly running. So this is a good time to talk about it. Details are below in the description box. Multiple podcasters are running the Burra Cowl Cal. I have my hashtag. There are other podcasters who have their own hashtags. So if you're interested, check out details below, see the other podcasters and follow them. Enter, you can double dip, triple dip, quadruple dip. I think there's 8 different dips to do. So if you're interested, that's a pattern by Marie Wallen. It is a very thick cowl, very warm one. Okay, Lizbeth A63 says, I wasn't aware of hashtag Hohi Cal, and I think you may have inspired me to start and hopefully finish Starting Point. I hope so. I hope so. That would be awesome. I'd love to see it. She says, I purchased and downloaded this pattern a couple of years ago, and it's been on my radar, but just haven't found the opportunity to get started on this project. Maybe now is the time. Woohoo! All right, let's see. Mary Danielson says, I would like to knit the hipster. I love the shawl you just finished. Beautiful. Thank you. I've seen the hipster. I think that one looks really cool. That's one I might, just for, I think they call it a drop stitch part of the design. I think that's the one that has like, it's like an X shape kind of thing, that it's very holy and see-through. That one looks really cool to me, and I'm interested in how you do that stitch mostly. So yeah, that seems like a cool one to do. Leslie, the winner of our giveaway, says, my 3rd year participating in her knit along. I'm knitting 7 things this year. 7 things. 4 shawls, 1 cowl, 1 hat, 1 pair of socks. Most patterns I have knit multiple times. Just saw Roxanne Richardson video this morning. Yeah, I was talking about Roxanne's video of the state fair in Minnesota. I think I have a fiber on my face. Anyhow, but that's a very ambitious entry. 7 different things. I hope you are that fast of a knitter, because that's a lot of things. I mean, I understand a cowl can go pretty quickly, and a pair of socks. Oh, and definitely a hat. But 4 shawls. Whew. All right. Good luck to you. I hope you win something there too. Sharon talked about my colors that I mentioned earlier. And she had mentioned a Hohi pattern called the Frank shawl, which she had mentioned to me previously. And I looked it up and I was like, wow, that thing is huge. But looking at it, now I may be not remembering it correctly, but I feel like it was a lot of stockinette, which is good for like knit night and stuff like that. But that's one where I think I might get bored easily. I don't know. Maybe there's texture on it that I don't remember seeing, but maybe there's some other aspect that I don't realize. Somebody whose name I cannot pronounce. I'll put it on the screen here. Says, oh, that slipstream turned out lovely. Thank you. Doris chimed in again with, I think the blue should be at the end. Bobbles would catch on everything. Yeah. Okay. My video ended and I don't know why. So every once in a while that happens. I don't know is my phone overheating? I don't know, but it seems to start up again right away without any problem. So I'm going to go on. I actually went through and looked at where I left off, and I was in the middle of talking about Doris's comment where she said Bobbles would catch on everything and she was worried about her dogs and grandchildren snagging them. 100% agreed. Sometimes my dog jumps up on me. I don't have grandchildren yet, so I can't relate to that, but I do have students, so I can relate to it that way. So yeah, 100% agreed. That's another reason to not have bobbles on things. Michelle says, I was not aware of Hohi's fall cal. I would like to knit Hohi's boxy sweater. As far as your sweater, I like the blues to blue purple, blue green to lightest skein. So again, this is someone who mentioned 4 colors. So I don't know how I conveyed that incorrectly on my last episode. I'm going to have to go back and watch that episode. So yeah, she talks about, yeah, you could reverse it if you want the lighter colors up by your face. And yeah, I have seen the boxy sweater. I think Nitty Natty recently did that one. And it was like alternating stripes of solid stockinette and lace. And it looks really cool, but I don't like boxy. I prefer fitted. The fit of this is not my standard what I like. I definitely prefer how my faux set fits better than how this fits me. So next up is Doris again. Okay. This one I wanted to get into because this is an interesting point. Doris says, I don't agree about the timer thing. I knit to relax, not because I have a weapon pointed at my head. Really, who cares how fast I knit? I hear you, Doris. Like, I don't want to feel like I have this pressure to knit a certain speed. So what I said to her is weapon pointed at your head with the laughing face emoji. I said the needles go in your arm, silly, or in your yarn, silly, not at your head. And then I said, but on a more serious note, I didn't time myself for the purpose of racing. I wanted a realistic expectation of what I can complete given the amount of time I have. It was intended to calm myself more by adjusting my expectations of when I am capable of finishing things. So really what I'm thinking about is if I know that I have, say, 2 hours a day that I can dedicate to knitting, which is probably a lot during school, especially like a lot of times during the school year, I'm feeling overwhelmed when I get home. Sometimes it's depending on how the day went. Sometimes it's very stressful. And with that, if there's anything that I have to figure out, before I start knitting, I don't want to start knitting. And if there's anything that I feel like I have to focus on, I'm like, forget it. I'm just gonna like zone out and play a video game or something. I've got like matching games that I'll do, or even like, it's funny that I know I have to think to play these games, but for whatever reason, I guess maybe it's the lack of necessity to prepare anything that makes it easier. I don't know. But sometimes when I just feel like I just want to veg out, that's what I'll do. Is, you know, the TV will be on and I'll sort of be paying attention to what's happening on the TV. Usually some YouTube of somebody knitting, somebody talking about knitting. And so I look up every once in a while and see what they're working on. And just like you guys are doing right now. So with that being said, I like to know when I'm casually knitting, how many stitches per hour can I realistically do? And that would be, if any of you saw my last episode, I talked about how I had a spreadsheet that I did where I listed different projects and how long it took me to knit a certain, like what I would do is say, okay, I'm gonna knit, time myself while I'm knitting, and then when I'm finished, figure out how many stitches I knit and how long that was for. And then I can get down to, okay, in a texture pattern, I knit this many stitches per hour. In a stockinette pattern, I knit this many stitches per hour. And that is something I should take into account when I'm thinking about a project that I want to complete. So like this Joji sweater, the La Prairie, it is a textured knit. It's going to take me a lot of time. So realistically, can I expect to get that done by the end of the knit along? And I would need to do the math to figure that out. I would need to know how many stitches in total are in this cardigan, and then times the amount of stitches per minute, or divided by the amount of stitches per hour that I can do. That's how many hours it's going to take me. And even when I do that, I know it's going to take me longer than that, because usually when I'm timing myself, I'm timing just sitting and knitting, and not the time that I stand up, go to the bathroom, go to the kitchen, get some water, grab a snack, whatever I might be doing, because that happens a lot in my knitting time. Or, you know, somebody comes in the room and starts talking to me about something that I need to talk to them about, and I can't focus on my knitting, that kind of stuff. I mean, I usually do. I can talk and knit. But I usually, there can often be a bit of a pause when you're talking to someone. And sometimes too, and I think I've mentioned this before, if you're sitting there and your phone's right next to you and you're watching a knitting podcast, somebody mentions a pattern that you've never seen before, and you got to look it up on Ravelry and mark it in your favorites so that you don't forget it later. That's what I do anyway. So there can be a lot of interruptions, and it takes a lot more time than you might expect. And I wanted to have realistic expectations of when I can finish things. This 3 months. And I don't know how many stitches are in it. I never figured that out. That I feel like that in itself is a time-consuming thing. And maybe I can figure out how to simplify that math. That's all I wanted to say about that, I think. You get the idea. And that's all the comments. So, did I show my new to me? I don't think I did. I did not show my new to me. You guys. So, Wisconsin Sheep and Wool was last weekend. I tagged along with Selfish Knitter, her mom, her friend, and her mom. Was there another person? Her mom's friend? I don't know. There were a lot of people. And you know, when you're walking around at a fair like that, it's hard to keep a big group of people together when there's so much to see and everybody has different tastes and they, you know, want to look at whatever they're more interested in. You know, there was, when I first met them, we were in a barn with a bunch of different sheep in different little pens, and we went around and we looked at those for a little bit. They are so sweet. I don't know if this is typical of sheep, but they are so calm and like open to being touched by people. I would think that sheep would be more afraid of humans, but apparently not. I don't know. Maybe it's because they're handled so much on the farms. I don't know what that is, but maybe I will put up some pictures as I talk about this festival, because I did take some pictures. There was a fashion show where there were people who made garments and they awarded different things. The youngest entrant was like the overall winner of the best constructed garment, which I thought was really cool. Like, good for you, kid. Awesome. So here is what I bought. Oh, look at this. Look at the size of this thing. This is actually 2 hanks that the person I bought them from skeined together. This is, I'm gonna open it up because it's easier to show that way. If I can figure out how to open it up, I'm not going to be able to put it back together again, that's for sure. I might end up knotting it as I try to take it apart. But, woo! Okay, so this is Shady Haven's Fiber Designs, and it is prime alpaca. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming that's 100% alpaca. Maybe I should be wary of that because all it says is prime alpaca. But my intention with this is to knit the Andrea Mowry Traveler hoodie. I bought enough of this to make it a longer version, and I want to make the hooded version. It will be a nice bougie sweatshirt, and I'm now questioning what prime alpaca means. Is this really worth what I paid for it? I'm sure it will be lovely. This is super soft. I have a feeling that it will grow because of the alpaca content. But that's fine because what I'm planning to knit with it is a bougie sweatshirt. So I'm I am looking forward to making that. We did, when we went to this festival, we wandered a lot. We saw a sheep shearing. That was fun to watch. I've seen videos before, and I feel like it's not the same when you see it on a video. The guy was answering a lot of questions that the audience had. Where am I at here? I'm at the end. That's where I'm at. So, guys, like, subscribe, survive, and thrive. And I will see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.